I always do the live stream there. Stand by. Hey everybody, what's up? It is 8 o'clock Eastern on the nose. It's your friend James Shaw, and thank you so much for choosing to wake up and be here inside of Pivot Shift Ahead this morning. This is our daily mastermind call. It's two masterminds in one. First part of the mastermind we did today about talking about what we were doing yesterday inside of the Inspire Collective around some AI tools. We had Lauren Lucas come in, who's a lead agent in Ohio who's selling 100 plus homes a year, but has also become this expert on how agents can leverage AI in their business. It was mind blowing. We had a great call on it. Inspire members recording is available to you in the portal. But if you're not an Inspire member and want that kind of stuff, jamesdshaw.com is where you can go to access it. Now, this part of the call, I want to talk about something that's on my mind, and I hope it's something that will help you. And that is this. I have noticed anxiety starting to creep up. I get text messages a lot. You all text me, and I love it, and you please keep texting me. And you'll either text me that you are way behind. I had one yesterday that is way behind where they were last year, and that's got her thinking about some things and what to do. And then I got others of you that are capping faster than you've ever capped before, selling more homes than you've ever sold. But the truth is, we got to have deep pipelines right now. We got to have a lot of reserves. And if we don't, our anxiety is going to go up. See, for that agent who is behind, if they've got deep reserves, they're not freaking out. But if they're behind and they have no reserves, they're freaking out. So we're going to talk about deepening the pipeline and solidifying your reserves today to make sure that you can make it through any market. That's the goal. That's what we'll talk about. But before we do that, we always do a couple of tell me something goods. Raquel, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Just wanted to give a welcome to our Pivot community, to Alex Garcia, and he is from another market center here in the Atlanta area. Talked to him a couple of days ago, and he promised that he would join, and he's on the call today. So I'm happy because I know what this will do to his business.
Thank you, Raquel, for always bringing people, and welcome to those of you that are here for the first time. I appreciate it. Vicky DeLuca, good morning.
Good morning. I just have to say, I am so grateful for this community, James, and you and what you bring to Inspire. I am so happy to say that I have 3 closings coming in the next week, and it's because I've learned from Inspire with the pricing and just how to service my clients at an elite level like you are showing us. And I'm just forever, forever grateful.
I'm grateful to you as well. Thank you so much. Orly, you get the last one. Good morning.
Yes, I'm just so grateful to live a life with intention, abundance, and by design. I just came back from a week and a half of an amazing vacation in Greece and Palermo. And I just want to tell those of you who are afraid to go away and let go of your business, don't be afraid because you come back so energized. I woke up this morning, couldn't wait to get on this call, can't wait to get into the office. And I got 2 come list me calls while I was away by email saying, I know you're on vacation. However, I need to list my house and buy something else. It's okay. They're going to wait for you because you're worth it.
If you don't take time away, then you're going to run out of fuel anyway. You can't go, go, go all the time. You got to be able to take a break. Orly, welcome back. We missed you. All right, let's get after it this morning. So, I don't know, it was maybe 2 summers ago, I had a call with Gary Keller, and it was just Gary and me. And here's how you can tell if someone has a one-on-one with Gary Keller. They'll tell you about it on their mastermind call so that you all know. But I was sitting down with Gary and I said, hey, I'm talking to agents every day, like we do right now. Every day I'm talking to agents. And I said to him, I'm finding that they're a little more nervous and their anxiety is up. Now, this was 2 years ago that we had this call. And I'm still noticing that, by the way, that many agents are nervous and their anxiety is up. And so I asked Gary, I said, are you finding that too? Right? Because Gary meets with the top agents in Keller Williams all the time. And I said, are you finding that they're more anxious and a little bit more nervous than maybe the previous couple of years? And he says, absolutely. And I said, why do you think that is? And Gary said, well, that anxiety and stress and nervousness comes from 2 things. They don't have enough leads and they don't have enough reserves. Or maybe they don't have enough leads, but they do have some reserves, or they don't have any reserves, but they do have some leads, or either way. But the bottom line is, the deeper your pipeline is and the deeper your reserves are, the less anxiety and stress that you feel. If you are feeling stress, anxiety, and nervousness right now around your business, I'd ask you to investigate. Which is it? Is it not enough leads in the pipeline? Is it not enough reserves? Or is it a combination of the two? Now, I want to address the three different scenarios, and then I want to hear from you. The first one is no pipeline and no reserves. And honestly, that's the most vulnerable spot. That's where you feel the most stuck. That's where you might even feel hopeless at times. But I think many agents have been there. Put in the chat if you have ever been in that spot, whether it's now or a previous time in your career where you had no pipeline and no reserves. Just put it in the chat. Yeah, some of you are putting the year in there. And if you look at it, you've got people now in the chat that are telling you yes. And these are mega elite producers today. This is when you have to get into momentum. You act your way in momentum. You don't wait it out. And I think some of you are waiting thinking the market's all of a sudden going to change and things are going to improve, when the truth is you're the one who has to get into it. And the question is, well, what do I have to get into? It is very specific active lead generation that's going to immediately add leads to the pipeline, and it's 3 to 4 hours a day every day, no days off. Well, James, I want to take a day off. Well, you probably already took it, which is why you're in the situation you're in. And so now we can't take it anymore. And so we've got to be very specific in our lead gen stuff that's going to bring listings in today. Fast moving lead opportunities. Well, what are those? They're open houses. You could literally do an open house every day. That's what Rico Roberts did. We did a Wednesday webinar with him on it, where he was doing 311 days or whatever of open houses. He did an open house every day to fill the pipeline. He doesn't do open houses every day because the pipeline's deep and the reserves are deep as well, but you could do open houses every day. This is where, even if it's temporary, you call for sale by owners, or you call expireds, or whatever, but we've got to figure out some sort of fast moving lead source to deepen the pipeline quickly. And then on reserves, you've got to cut everything you possibly can that doesn't give you a return. Now remember, when we cut, we always do it in our personal life before we do it in our business life. Like, this is when you don't cut your, this will sound self-serving, but I mean it. You don't cancel your Inspire membership because you're low on funds. You go implement the strategies we're teaching you in Inspire instead of ignoring it and just giving me 99 bucks a month. And what you do instead is you go cancel your Netflix because you don't have time to watch Wednesday anyway. So you go figure that out and get into this path of opportunity, and by the way, your confidence will grow and you'll become more consistent in what you do. So that's if you have no pipeline and no reserves. But what about the people that do have a pretty good pipeline, but not a lot of reserves? I talk to people like that all the time. I've told you the story of an agent who called me a couple of years ago. I don't want to say their name. It's not important, but their initials are Sasha. And Sasha called me and she's like, I'm going to quit. I'm done with this. And I said, that's fine. You can quit. Sasha, I don't know if you're on, but if you remember this, I'm going to quit. And I said, listen, you can quit. If you're not willing to do whatever it takes, then you can go ahead and quit. Or you can give yourself credit for all the hard work you put in and just push a little bit more and you'll be okay. Here's what you do. If you have a deep pipeline and low reserves, you already know how to generate business. It's not about adding discipline. You're doing all of that. What it is about is reducing that lifestyle creep, less Starbucks or whatever. Go find the waste and pause it. It's not permanent, it's a pause. Figure out, what is a mini reserve goal going to be for you? I saw in the chat, what's your definition of reserves? I don't know. You have to figure that out. I think we all have different definitions, but the first thing I'd do is I'd at least get a month of reserves and then celebrate the fact that you've done that and then let it grow from there. But here's what I do know. Finding leads in this market is a lot harder than building up your reserves. If you can find leads, you can deepen your reserves. No issue there. Now, what about the person that has not a lot of leads but strong reserves? You're in a good spot. You can survive this. I remember a conversation I had with Marilyn Burke a couple of years ago, where she said, James, it's several weeks into the year. This call was in February or March, and she's like, it's a few weeks into the year and I haven't sold a house yet, and that's never happened to me before. And we were strategizing around ideas to help her get some business moving. And then I paused and I said, Marilyn, you don't sound stressed to me. And she said, well, that's because if I don't sell a house this year, I can pay my bills. She had deep reserves, but no leads. If you have deep reserves but no leads, now's the time for you to play offense. Use some of your reserves, maybe even as a springboard, to help you move you forward. Could you reinvest a portion of that into some leverage to get some stuff off your plate so you can put your time and higher lead generating activities? Is there something you can leverage to double down? Maybe you add a client event or do, send a gift to your people. I don't know. You have to figure it out. But figure out how can those reserves in some way help give you some momentum. Bottom line is when you have a deep pipeline and you have deep reserves, your confidence goes up. You just feel better. If you're lacking in both, right now it's all in on lead generation. If you're lacking in one or the other, figure out how do you continue doing what you're doing in the one while you build the other. That's where we are right now. Let's talk about it. Let's hear your thoughts on it. Louise Weiss, start us off. Good morning.
Hello, friends. Life be lifin'. That's all I'm gonna say. And well, no, it isn't. I'm Italian. I'm gonna say more. And God doesn't give us more than we can handle. And apparently, God thinks Louise can handle a whole heck of a lot right now. And I'm fine with that because I'm a highly conservative person. My favorite income is passive income, and that's part of my life by design. I have reserves. Um, have we had to dip into them? Oh, yeah. Have we had to dip into them more than we had planned to? Oh, yeah. But you know what? I'm going to fill the coffers. Life is going to be fine. Most of us are here and most of us recognize the phrase a life by design so we can do what we want with who we want when we want. We think of the glamour and the fun and everything, but it's also for the unexpected. And this is why we plan the way that we do. So Louise is replenishing her coffers. That's my goal right now. I'm hitting Q4 hard. We've got the tools to do it. And that's all I'm going to say.
Well, and it's the reminder too that any one moment does not define your career. Like you could have a $50,000 a month like Kim Wallace brought up yesterday, and that doesn't define you. You're not a $50,000 a month agent just because you did it once. And if you have a month that you don't have anything coming in, you're not a zero agent just because that happened to you once. Like any one moment does not define your career, and you can get through whatever this is. Thank you, Louise.
Absolutely,
Appreciate
because our friend John Acuff has told us that we have survived 100% of the difficulties, the trials and tribulations that we have overcome in the past, and we're going to do it again. We've got grit. All of us here have grit.
Well, I'll tell you, all of you that are listening and watching and a part of this have a head start on everybody else who doesn't because you're seeking opportunity, and that's what this community was created for. Jasmine, good morning.
Good morning. I couldn't find the mute button.
You found it.
Okay, so what I am doing in this market is like I've been getting a lot of rentals. So I'm collecting retainers to build my reserve to take listings, like as far as like expired listings. I'm planning Hometown Heroes just launched here in Florida. So I'm literally going to go to the facilities that employ the Hometown Heroes and host seminars, provide like a lunch. And then from there, I'm going to be doing a first-time buyer seminar to generate leads because yes, I have leads, but I want to keep growing my pipeline. So that's what I'm going to be doing in the market right at this moment.
By the way, we should always be growing the pipeline. The purpose of the business is to have a deep pipeline. As Orly taught us a while back, you got to eat on August 20th, but you also want to eat in 2026 and in 2027 and in 2028. We're always looking to deepen the pipeline. This is why, by the way, I partnered with Anna Kruger. Did you know her series starts today? No Script Sales Method. Dropping the link in the chat. And this is one that if you choose to, if it makes sense for you right now, go enroll in that so you can better connect with people and you can deepen the pipeline. Because the pipeline gets deeper based on your ability to connect, get clarity about their goals, ask them the right questions. They go in the pipeline and you have opportunity flowing at all times. Mark Martin, good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning. Asking for a friend. So I hear you say, or excuse me, my friend says, hears you say this, and I understand where you're getting at, but a lot of times when I hear you need to go deep in the pipeline, and I'm in that moment of anxiety, which I've had some of that recently. Sorry, my friend, I keep forgetting. This is for my friend. Yeah. I hear that and I think, well, what about capacity? Like, I don't feel like I have the capacity for more right now, or I don't feel like I start doubting the skills that I have. And so more pipeline lead generation starts to be overwhelming and add to that anxiety. Talk to me like I'm throwing up an objection like a seller and talk me out of that.
Mark, I remember a few years ago when I was doing one-on-one coaching with MAPS. I had a client that I coached who lived in Atlanta, who we got on the phone at the beginning and she had zero pipeline whatsoever. And so we talked about a strategy that would help her deepen her pipeline. And she agreed to it. We walked through different options. But what she agreed to do was she said she was going to lead generate every day for a minimum of 3 hours. She wanted to talk to a minimum of 20 people. And she wanted to schedule at least one appointment of some kind. And she wanted to do it every day. And she was going to go until she accomplished all three. It wasn't going to be, oh, I got my 3 hours. I only got 12 contacts and no appointment, but I got my 3 hours. No, it was going to go until she had accomplished all three. And what we had agreed to do is she would just text me at the end of every day. And I said, I don't want a bunch of stuff, just three numbers. Don't give me, here's what had happened. I just want three numbers. The first number is the number of hours. The second number is the number of contacts. And the third number is the number of appointments. And I remember the first day she texted me, it was like 4.5, 20, 3, and 1. What that tells me is she got her appointment on the 23rd conversation, right? And then the next day it was like 4 hours, 26 and 1. And what that told me was she got her one appointment on the 26th call. But then eventually I would start getting things like 3, 24, and 2. Like, so now she was getting into a rhythm. And she did this very consistently. This is a very dedicated agent. I have a lot of respect for her. She did this every day. I get these text messages from her. And she'd pretty much get this 3, 20, and 1 every day. And then about 90 days later, Mark, I get on the coaching call with her and she is screaming at me. And Mark, she says, James, I am so upset right now. And I said, what's going on? She says, I have more listings than I've ever had in my entire career, and I have so much stuff falling through the cracks. I'm missing deadlines. I'm missing follow-up systems. Like, things are just, it's falling apart. It's too hectic. It's too chaotic. And I said, agent, that's a hell of a lot better problem than the one we had 90 days ago. Like, I will take gaps in systems and clients who are frustrated with you because your service isn't at the level that you want. I'll take all of that over not having any business, because that's easy to fix. Mark, as the pipeline gets deep, the challenges change, but they become easier to fix. And I want you to fix easy stuff, a change in system, just a little bit of a tweak, adding someone to do your contract to close. All of that stuff is really fixable, but you have nothing to fix if you don't have any leads in the pipeline. That'd be my thought. Was that helpful?
Oh, that's very helpful.
Good. Go deep in the pipeline, dude. Who haven't we heard from this week? Kristen Jungles, good morning.
Good morning, James. Love to Sasha, because there are people on this call that have called me and said that they were going to quit, and they are crushing it in their business now because they stayed the course and got the work done. I have a shirt from KW that says the path is in the math, and deepening your pipeline is a math equation. I remember being at Safety Harbor a few years ago when we were all at the pool, and Jess Starr was talking about an opportunity to buy an investment property. And she said, if we all put in $40,000, we could buy it. And I immediately started thinking, where's my $40,000 that I could do? And made a commitment then that I would never be in a position to not have the $40,000. And I'm not now. But when I think about the math, right now, we're going into September, is when you need to decide if you're going to do a volume of $10 million next year. That requires you to put 850,000 into your pipeline every single month. That's assuming that you are nailing every single thing that hits your pipeline. And the reality is that you're not. So you need to double that. You need 1.6 million in potential business that you could close in 2026 every single month added to your pipeline if you think that you're going to do $10 million in volume next year. And so the planning for that starts right now. So that's September, find 1.6. October, find 1.6, and so on, so that when January comes, you've had the opportunity to cultivate those relationships that you added in September so that you're closing it in January. So figure out now where you want the level that you want to see your business at. If it's 10 million, great. If it's 20 million, double down on those numbers. And then what you have to do is mirror and match the activities to get you to 1.6 million added to your pipeline every single month. So when I talk to my coach, we have a conversation, and it's like Gary has said before, what, you know, he said to top producers once, and I've never been in the room, but he said to them in the room, whatever got you into this room, you need to double it to stay here, right? And he's not talking about volume, he's talking about activities.
Yes.
And so then those activities have to match that. I mean, I'll be out door knocking next week. Why? Door knocking for me does generate business. And so you need to be willing to do whatever it takes without exception. So figure out what that number is that you need to add to your pipeline. Find an accountability partner here on our pivot community and say that you're going to do whatever it takes to add that to your pipeline, because the reality is when Kim Wallace talks about a $50,000 month, $50,000 month when your overhead is only 10 a month creates reserves.
That's
But
right.
it's the activities that you need to do that creates the 50,000, right? So do the math on what you want your number to be for 2026. Like we're there now, so you could hit the ground running, and make it a non-negotiable that you hit it before you say you're done for the week.
That's a great way to end it. We had 13 people we didn't get to today, so we're going to do a part 2 on this tomorrow. So if you had your hand up, just raise it first thing tomorrow, and we're going to do a part 2 on this. Kristen absolutely nailed it for you. And that's kind of stuff, by the way, we'll do at Advance. If you're coming to Tampa for Advance in November, that's exactly what we're going to do, is talk about how to set goals like this and weave them into the models of MREA so you know what to do to hit your goal, bottom line. All right, so a couple of reminders. Anna Kruger today, No Script Sales Method, starts this afternoon, so you should be there. Link is in the chat, plus I emailed it to everybody who's on the email list this morning, so we'd love to see you in that. If you're not part of the Inspire Collective, we'd love for you to join. JamesDShaw.com is where you can get the information on that. And then we're posting stuff all the time on my Instagram at James D. Shaw, so I'd love to see you there too. Let's connect in that space as well. But go get after it today. You got your inspiration, go put in the perspiration, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, James.